I'm the easiest boss in this horror game. Players never bother me because I'm so harmless. Until one day, a group of new players destroyed my shrine and hung me from the rafters like a creepy doll. When I dragged myself home, beaten and half dead, my brother silently pulled out two boning knives. My sister polished her gun until it gleamed. My brother emerged from the shadows, knives glinting like tiny shards of moonlight. My sister's hands moved deftly, polishing her gun until it reflected every flicker of the candlelight. Our neighbor, calm as always, slid on her gloves with deliberate care. And the village elder, well, he just smiled, serene and unbothered, telling me to get some sleep. Then came the alerts. My system flashed violently, alarms shrieking through the air. Warning: SS rank boss online. Soul Collector dungeon activated. Warning: SS rank boss online. 33 days of hack dungeon activated. Overnight, every player in the village was dragged into a labyrinthine nightmare dungeon, a place where survival was nearly impossible. Finally, they realized their mistake. Who exactly had made them so angry? The next morning, the sunlight was unusually golden, spilling through the mist like honey. I woke early, tugged on the little backpack my sister had carefully packed for me, and set off toward the goddess shrine. Birds chirped nervously in the fog, dew soaked the edges of the cobblestone path, and the village smelled faintly of wet earth and candle smoke. Today's players had no idea what they were walking into. My fog-shrouded village was the easiest dungeon in Descent, the horror game I'd always called home. I didn't scare anyone. I didn't hurt anyone. When the timer ran out, I quietly handed over the exit key. No fuss. No fight. Other dungeon bosses mocked me for being useless, even threatened to expel me from the boss alliance. But I didn't care. Prestige meant nothing compared to the warmth of a simple meal. I settled at my shrine. My sister's flatbread still steaming, my brother's braised chicken legs glistening with fat, a bowl of fish soup made from the village elder's cat, and a delicate handkerchief sewn with care by our neighbor. I arranged everything neatly, savoring the small joy of order in a world built on chaos. I rubbed my hands together, ready to taste comfort and normalcy. Then I heard it. Footsteps. Scattered. Careful. Too early. Today's players had arrived ahead of schedule. I exhaled slowly, a mix of annoyance and relief. Maybe I'd get home sooner and still have time to fly kites with my siblings. I hurriedly packed my breakfast, the warmth of the food fading as I prepared to greet them. The footsteps stopped outside. A lazy, youthful voice called through the wooden door. Is the boss inside? Of course I was. The smell of braised chicken made my stomach rumble. I swallowed hard, eager, silently urging them to come in. I'd hand over the exit key, then I could finally go home. But they didn't come in. Someone knocked, testing the door, and my pulse quickened. My hands trembled slightly. I dared not make a sound. Yo, what are we waiting for? Another voice asked, impatient. No response. Then a sharp, female voice cut through the air. What's your rush? Afraid, Matt, and I might hurt you? Don't forget who saved you from the ghost attack last night. I froze. My stomach twisted. Ghost attack? I didn't. No, I'd never attacked anyone at night. Ever. My brother's ghost stories had kept me huddled under the covers as a child, trembling as shadows crawled along the walls. I'd pull the blankets over my head, shut my eyes tight, and wait for the morning. Once the lights were out, and my sister finally drifted into sleep, I'd rest easy, unbothered, and untouched by the dark. Humans? I didn't have the courage to touch them at night. And yet, here they were, waiting outside my door, daring me to step out of the shadows, daring me to make a choice. The crisp morning air carried their voices like a challenge, and my hands itched, not for violence, but for the quiet certainty of being left alone. Whatever. I'll never see them again anyway, so let the misunderstanding slide.
Just coming already.
Finally, Matt made his move. I held my breath, silently urging them on, as he knocked on the wooden boards with an exaggerated smirk. Even I had to admit, this dungeon boss wasn't someone to underestimate. I'd cleared dozens of dungeons in the game, but I had never seen a boss bold enough to practically advertise their hiding spot on the wall. This had to be a trap. As soon as Matt finished speaking, the other players instinctively stepped back. A timid voice, soft and uncertain, asked, "Should we still go in?" I went blank, my mind scrambling. How could I convince them I wasn't a threat? How could I explain that I never, ever meant to harm anyone. Matt's confident laugh cut through the tension. Of course we're going in. Why wouldn't we? She needs to learn what happens when she messes with me. The door to the goddess shrine slammed open violently. I jumped, my heart thudding in my chest, instinctively searching for somewhere to hide. Then a knife flew across the room. It grazed my cheek and slammed into the altar with a deafening clang, pinning me in place. My breath caught, frozen in my throat. Slowly, I lifted my eyes and met the gaze of the young man in front of me. He tilted his head, eyebrows raised, a malicious glint in his eyes. "Look, Lisa, this isn't a statue that can move," he said impatiently. A sharp female voice followed, impatient and commanding. "The ghost must be in here. Matt, tie her up." "No, wait. No need to tie me up. I'll come out myself." My voice was barely audible, tremulous, but Matt had already pulled a hemp rope from his backpack. It was thick as my wrist, dotted with dried bloodstains, yellow paper charms fluttering between tiny silent bells. The closer it got, the more my head throbbed. A mysterious, searing pain flared, growing stronger with every inch the rope inched toward me. Through the haze of agony, I frantically pulled out the exit key and pressed it into his hands, forcing a weak, nervous smile at his playful gaze. I'd never encountered anything like this. I had no aggression. My sister had taught me never to talk to strangers. Players entering Froggy Village only needed 3 days of peaceful vacation. When the fog lifted, they took the key I gave them and left, the dungeon cleared. Always polite. Always careful. Never like Matt and his friends, who had approached with hostility as if they wanted to kill me. Maybe it was because of last night's misunderstanding. I thought, if I just give them the key, surely they'll realize they blamed the wrong ghost. But just as I reached out, the hemp rope coiled around me like a living snake. I froze, hands extended, mind blank. The key slipped from my grasp, clattering onto the floor. I heard one of the players ask Matt, "Is this the ghost that attacked us last night?" "She looks kind of cute." "Yeah, Matt," another replied. "She even gave us the key. With this, we can leave, right?" Lisa's eyes snapped toward them, fierce and unrelenting. "Shut up, all of you." Her voice was sharp, commanding, and fear fell over the room like a heavy curtain. Everyone went silent, shrinking back under her gaze. Finally, her eyes landed on my little backpack, tucked shyly in the corner. 2 lively cats were embroidered on the straps, our neighbor's handiwork. That morning, while packing my lunch, my sister had reminded me, drink the fish soup while it's hot. Don't just eat meat. Eat vegetables, too. And don't talk to humans. They're trouble. I'd even bought a new dress, she had said. But Lisa had stepped over my little couch without a second thought, dismissing it as if it were invisible, and now she stood there like the ruler of the room, surveying her domain. And somehow, in that moment, I realized I wasn't just a harmless boss anymore. Something had shifted. Lisa crouched beside my backpack, fingers rifling through the embroidered straps. She pulled out my sister's flatbread, still warm in its cloth wrapping. Then the braised chicken legs. Then the fish soup, golden and precious. "Food," she scoffed. The boss was having a picnic? The fish soup container slipped, or maybe she dropped it. The crash echoed through the shrine as golden broth spread across the wooden floor like spilled sunshine. My brother's careful seasoning, the village elder's fresh catch, all of it seeping into the cracks. "Oops," Lisa said, utterly flat. Something inside me didn't break. It simply went still, like the moment before a storm, when even the birds stopped singing. Matt raised his knife toward the altar, that malicious glint in his eyes. "Let's just destroy the shrine and trigger the completion." "Don't." My voice came out smaller than I intended. "Please don't touch the shrine." He drove the blade in any way. The crack that followed wasn't just sound. It was feeling, rippling through the village like a shockwave. The fog outside pressed against the windows, suddenly thick as wool. And somewhere in the distance, a bell tolled. Once. Twice. 3 times. My interface erupted in warnings. Alert. Protective protocols engaged alert. SS rank entities responding alert. Dungeon status modified. Lisa's face went pale as her timer reset from 2 days to 33. What did you do?" "I didn't do anything," I whispered, staring at the spilled soup, at my trampled handkerchief, at the crack in the altar. "You did." The door opened without a sound. My sisterling stood there, backlit by glowing fog. She took in the scene, The rope burns on my arms, the destroyed lunch, the broken altar, and her expression went very, very calm. "May," she said softly, "come home now." The rope binding me dissolved like morning dew. I stumbled toward her, and she caught me with one arm while her other hand rested on her gun. She looked at the players then and smiled. "You'll stay in the shrine tonight. Don't try to leave. The fog isn't friendly to people who hurt my little sister." "Wait," Lisa started. But we were already gone, swallowed by mist. Our house materialized from the fog, warm light spilling from every window. My brother Wei sat on the porch steps, methodically sharpening his knives. When he saw my rope burns, his hands went very still. "Names," he said quietly. "Wei, please." I began. "Names, May. Matt, Lisa, Derek. But listen." Our neighbor Yuki appeared in the doorway, white silk gloves already on. The village elder followed, pipe smoke curling around him like living thoughts. They all looked at me, then at each other, having an entire conversation in the space between heartbeats. 33 days, Ling said. "The Soul Collector dungeon is active. The Hack dungeon is active. We could make them suffer every single." "No." The word surprised me as much as it surprised them. Everyone turned to stare. I took a shaky breath. "No suffering. No torture. No revenge." Wei's eyebrows rose. "May, they broke your shrine. They tied you with sacred rope. I know what they did." I looked at my family. These SS rank bosses who could end worlds, who'd chosen to live quietly in a fog-shrouded village, who packed my lunch with such care every morning. But killing them won't teach them anything. They'll just respawn, complain about bugs, and never understand what they took from me. "Then what do you want?" the elder asked, smoke drifting lazily upward. I thought about Lisa's cold dismissal, Matt's casual cruelty, the way they'd looked at me like I was less than nothing. I want them to see me, really see me, not as a boss or an NPC or an obstacle, as a person. I want them to understand what it means to destroy someone's carefully packed lunch, to break their sacred places, to hurt them for no reason except that they could. Silence fell over the porch. Then Ling started to laugh, soft, musical, delighted. "Oh, little sister, you want us to make them care." "That's much harder than killing them," Yuki observed, but she was smiling. Wei tested his knife edge thoughtfully. "Also more interesting." The elder nodded, smoke curling into shapes that might have been words. "So it shall be. 33 days. But May's way, not ours." Day 1. Morning came with golden light and a knock on the shrine door. I stood outside with a tray of breakfast, rice porridge, pickled vegetables, tea. Simple but warm. Lisa opened the door, defensive and hostile. "What is this?" "Breakfast. You're still guests, even if you're terrible ones." I set the tray down. "When you're done eating, meet me in the village square." The square had transformed. A bulletin board now stood at its center, covered in tasks. Village maintenance schedule. Shrine repairs, Lisa and Matt. Garden weeding, Sarah and Derek. A lumber collection, Tommy and Chun. Cooking duty, rotation. "You're joking," Matt said flatly. "I'm not." I met his eyes. 33 days. You can spend them fighting and miserable, or you can spend them learning. Your choice. Lisa crossed her arms. "And if we refuse?" "Then the fog gets thicker. The village gets colder, and my family stops being patient." I smiled, but there was steel under it now. "Trust me, you want me in charge, not them." Day 3. I knelt beside Lisa at the shrine, showing her how to sand the wood grain smooth. She worked in sullen silence for an hour before finally speaking. "Why are you even helping us? We destroyed this place." "Because I'm hoping you'll understand why that matters." I ran my hand over the altar surface. "My brother carved these prayers when I first became a boss. Each one is a wish for my happiness. It took him 3 months." Lisa's hands stilled on the sandpaper. "The soup you spilled?" "My brother wakes up at dawn to prepare it, because he knows fish soup is my favorite." "The handkerchief you stepped on?" "Our neighbor spent 2 weeks embroidering those cats, because she knows they make me smile." I looked at her directly. "You didn't just break things, Lisa. You broke care. You broke love. And that's what I need you to understand." She didn't respond, but something flickered in her eyes. Day 5. Matt was assigned away for lumber collection. My brother demonstrated the proper axe technique once, then watched in patient silence as Matt hacked clumsily at a log. "You're angry," Wei observed. "I'm not," Matt stopped, realizing he was proving the point. Anger makes the wood splinter, makes your cuts jagged, makes everything harder than it needs to be. Wei took the axe, made one clean strike that split the log perfectly. Precision requires calm. Try again. By sunset, Matt's hands were blistered and his log pile was messy, but his last cut was cleaner than his first. Wei nodded once. Tomorrow, we work on follow-through. Day 7. Dinner had become communal by unspoken agreement. The players gathered in the village hall, exhausted from honest work, as Yuki taught them to prepare simple dishes. Sarah chopped vegetables beside our neighbor. Why do you care so much about a garden? Because someone has to, Yuki replied, her hands gentle on the knife. If everyone only takes and never tends, nothing grows. Not plants. Not people. Not communities. Sarah thought about all the times her party had trampled through gardens chasing quest markers, never thinking about what they destroyed. I never thought about it like that, she said quietly. Most people don't, Yuki smiled. Until someone teaches them to see. Day 15. The shrine was nearly complete. Lisa and I worked side by side in comfortable silence now, so different from that first hostile day. She'd learned to anticipate which tool I needed next, how to match the grain, where each prayer should sit. I've been thinking, Lisa said suddenly, about what you said, about breaking care. I waited, not pushing. In my old raids, we had this joke. Scorched earth strategy. Destroy everything, grab the loot, get out fast. Highest efficiency, best rewards. She set down her brush. I thought I was good at the game, but I was just fast at breaking things. And now I realize there's a difference between clearing content and actually experiencing it, between winning and understanding. She looked at the altar, at the prayers she'd helped restore. Your brother spent 3 months carving these. I destroyed them in 3 seconds. That's not strength. That's just emptiness. I reached over and squeezed her hand. Her eyes went wide, surprised by the simple kindness. Thank you for seeing that, I said. Day 20. Matt carved beside Wei on the porch, attempting a wooden bowl. He'd ruined 6 already, but Wei never showed impatience, just demonstrated again and again. Why do you bother? Matt asked. Teaching me, I was awful to your sister. Because May asked us to, Wei replied simply. And because she sees something in you worth teaching. I don't know why. I don't see it. Wei smiled slightly. That's the thing about being seen truly, Matt. Sometimes others recognize our potential before we do. That's what family does, what community does. May is giving you the gift of being believed in. What you do with that gift is up to you. Matt looked at his rough, unfinished bowl. Then he picked up his knife and started again, this time with real care. Day 25. I woke to find offerings on the shrine steps. Sarah had brought the first tomatoes from the garden she'd helped tend. Derek left a perfectly fitted roof shingle. Matt's wooden bowl sat there, still imperfect, but made with genuine effort. And Lisa had left a small handkerchief, stitches uneven, pattern simple, but made with her own hands. I gathered them carefully, tears blurring my vision. Not tears of sadness anymore. Day 28. The village elder called everyone to the square. 5 days remain. Your exit will open on day 33. I think it's time we talked about what happens next. The players exchanged glances. They'd changed, clothes worn and patched, hands calloused from work, faces thoughtful in ways they hadn't been before. Can we come back? Sarah asked quietly. After we leave. Not trapped. Just visiting. Yeah, Derek added. I was thinking about studying dungeon design. Maybe I could apprentice with you, Elder? Learn how to build worlds that matter. Tommy spoke up. Wei offered to teach me proper woodcraft. Said I have potential. Matt stepped forward, the wooden bowl cradled carefully. I want to apologize. Properly. Not because I'm trapped here, but because I understand now. May, I'm sorry. I was cruel because I could be, and that's the worst kind of cruelty. Lisa met my eyes. I'm sorry too. For all of it. For not seeing you. For treating this place, treating you like you didn't matter. The fog around the village had been thinning for days, and now it seemed almost golden in the afternoon light. Guests who respect our home are always welcome, Ling said, appearing beside me with a smile. Just don't break May's shrine again. Wei added, but his tone was warm. Day 32. We spent the day preparing for a festival, a proper farewell. Lanterns were hung, food prepared, music tuned. The players worked alongside us, no longer separated by dungeon boss and player designations. Just people, together. That evening, as stars appeared through the thinning fog, Lisa approached me with something hidden behind her back. I made you something. For real this time. She pulled out a backpack, roughly sewn but functional, with 2 cats embroidered on the straps. Not as perfect as Yuki's work, but made with care that was visible in every stitch. To replace the one I went through, I asked Yuki to teach me. I hugged her then, sudden and tight. She stiffened in surprise before slowly hugging back. Thank you, I whispered, for learning to see. Thank you for teaching me how, she replied. Day 33. Morning arrived clear and bright, no fog at all, just golden sunshine warming the cobblestones. The exit portal shimmered at the village edge, ready and waiting. Everyone gathered in the square one last time. The players wore their original gear again, inventories restored, weapons returned. But they looked different carrying them now, more aware of what power meant, of what it could destroy if wielded carelessly. Before you go, I said, pulling out 33 small stones from my pocket. Each one was painted with a tiny scene, moments from their time here. Sarah in the garden. Matt learning to carve. Lisa repairing the shrine. Derek fixing roofs. So you remember. Not as punishment, but as growth. They each took their stones, holding them like treasures. Will the dungeon reset?
Tommy asked.
When we leave, will you forget us? No, the elder said, smoke curling peacefully. This place is alive. It remembers everyone who truly sees it. One by one, they said their goodbyes. Hugs were exchanged, promises made to return. Matt placed his wooden bowl on the altar permanently. A reminder, he said, that broken things can be made whole. Lisa was the last to approach the portal. She looked back at me, then at the village, then at her party members who were already stepping through. May, one more thing. She pulled out her interface, fingers moving rapidly. Then my system pinged with a notification. Lisa Chen has left a 5-star review. Froggy Village isn't just a dungeon, it's a mirror. Come prepared to see yourself clearly. Come prepared to change. The boss isn't harmless. She's kind, and that's so much more powerful. Thank you, May, for teaching me what really matters. She stepped through the portal, and golden light swallowed her. Epilogue. 1 month later. The reviews changed everything. Players started arriving with different intentions. They came not to conquer, but to experience. They asked permission before entering the shrine. They brought offerings instead of weapons. They stayed for the full 3 days actually talking to us, learning from us. Some asked to stay longer. Some, like Derek, came back again and again to apprentice with the elder. Sarah started a gardening blog featuring Yuki's techniques. Matt opened a crafting school in another dungeon, teaching precision over aggression. And Lisa? She became something unexpected, an advocate. She streamed her return visits, showing thousands of players what it meant to truly see the worlds they played in. Her catchphrase became, "Don't just clear content. Understand it." The Boss Alliance called me in for review. Your dungeon has the highest satisfaction rating in Descent history, the administrator said, clearly baffled. But your completion rate is unconventional. People stay longer now, I explained.
By choice.
They don't want to rush through. They want to experience it. That's not how dungeons work. Maybe it's how they should work. The administrator stared at me for a long moment, then slowly smiled. You know what? Approved. Keep doing whatever you're doing. We're seeing positive changes across multiple dungeons because of your example. I walked home through sunshine and wisps of playful fog, my new backpack, from Lisa, bouncing with each step. Inside was my lunch, sister's flatbread, brother's soup, all prepared with the same care, as always. The shrine stood complete and beautiful, covered in offerings from grateful players. Matt's bowl held fresh flowers. Sarah's seeds had grown into a small garden. Derek's shingles had never leaked once. And Lisa's handkerchief hung in a place of honor. My family waited on the porch. Wei was teaching a group of players knife safety. Yuki showed others her cultivation techniques. Ling discussed soul theory with fascinated listeners. The elder dozed peacefully in his chair. I was still E-rank. Still the easiest boss in Descent. But I'd learned something important. Easy didn't mean weak. Harmless didn't mean powerless. Sometimes the gentlest person in the room was gentle by choice. And that choice, backed by love and family and an unshakable belief in people's capacity for growth, could be the strongest force of all. A new group of players appeared at the village edge, nervous and excited. I picked up my backpack, adjusted the embroidered cats, and walked out to meet them with a warm smile. Hello. Welcome to Froggy Village. I'm May. Would you like some tea? And the story began again. Not with fear or violence, but with kindness that knew its own strength. Because in the end, that's what it meant to be the harmless boss. Not weak. Not powerless. Not less. Just infinitely, powerfully, changelessly kind.